Well, the New England Patriots have a new offensive coordinator.
I have a lot of coaching friends in the NFL, so...
Name that is very familiar in New England, familiar in the NFL.
But relative to working in the NFL, no.
I could imagine a New England Patriots fan looking at this video and laughing. I could even imagine some of you unsubscribing. I know it sounds ridiculous, but bear with me because no matter what, this is definitely a huge improvement, and believe it or not, this actually significantly improves your team. We're gonna break it all down, man. Before we get to the content, making a huge push on Instagram, on the road to 100,000 followers. We upload shorts there every single day, so if you guys could check us out, that'd be appreciated. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! The last time this happened, every single subscriber that rode with me ended up making bank. PrizePicks is once again giving us a free square, which means Joe Burrow needs only 1 passing yard or more for you to fulfill his square, which means if we make one more correct pick, then we 3x our money. But I'm feeling really froggy and I have a plan for us to 5x our money. Step 1 is you need to go right now in the description down below and sign up for PrizePicks using my promo code Mikerophone. When you do that, they'll match your deposit up to $100. Once you deposited your money, ride with me on these picks. Because the last time I made picks, we ended up cashing with the free square. We're gonna do Joe Burrow more than 0.5 passing yards because duh! We're gonna do Travis Kelce more than 0.5 receiving touchdowns because, well, that's kind of also duh. And finally, we're gonna do the same thing for Jamar Chase. Because at the end of the day, if Joe Burrow's having a good game, usually Jamar Chase is too. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're tailing me for this one. And if you want to see additional picks that I'm making for the weekend, make sure you're following me on Instagram. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Like check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? We've made a lot of videos on this channel about the New England Patriots this past year because what they did was fairly peculiar. As a matter of fact, I don't think we've ever seen something like this occur in NFL history. This past season, the New England Patriots were in a bit of a quandary. They had no idea what to do with their offensive coordinator position after Josh McDaniels elected to take the Las Vegas Raiders job. So their hands were tied. What do? Do they try to find a brand new offensive coordinator that has never had any experience with Bill Belichick before in his entire life? No. They elected to bring back an individual that wasn't really good as a defensive coordinator, wasn't really good as a head coach, didn't ever have any experience as an offensive coordinator in Matt Patricia. This was by far one of the most insane things I think I've ever seen. And to be honest, I gave the New England Patriots a lot of credit because at the end of the day, I have tremendous respect for Bill Belichick. I know there's some people out there saying
Bill Belichick was carried by Tom Brady to Super Bowls and greatness.
But I felt like it was a symbiotic relationship where you have Bill Belichick as a masterful tactician on defense and Tom Brady as a very intelligent quarterback on offense. And I think both of them are remarkable at what they do. As a result, I gave the New England Patriots the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, they're in the midst of a rebuild, but they've been fairly competitive in this rebuild, especially since drafting Mac Jones. They made it to the playoffs last year, not so much this year. They were very close this year, and this team clearly has significant holes on its roster that need to be filled if they want to be successful. One of the most notable ones being the wide receiver position, which we're going to address that in this video because this clip involving DeAndre Hopkins and Bill Belichick.
I love you, man.
You too. You too. What a career you're having.
You know I do my job, man.
Yeah.
Trying to get better, man.
Doesn't seem very likely to happen based off of the news that I'm giving you guys today. So let's get this party started. Over the past 24 hours, we got some crazy news in the form that the New England Patriots are parting ways. Well, it said might be parting ways with de facto offensive coordinator Matt Patricia. We now know that's for sure because this video is about a brand new offensive coordinator. And you could just tell Mac Jones and Matt Patricia didn't really get along. This clip of Mac Jones getting upset about the offense not really running the way he expected, saying just run the ball is a great example of that. At the time, people spun this saying that Mac Jones just didn't know how to run the offense. But we now know the reality of the situation was that Mac Jones was very frustrated with the way the offense was run. Mac Jones definitely slumped a little bit in his sophomore season. I mean, not necessarily so much so that I would say give up on him, but in his second season in the NFL, he had 14 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He had a 65% completion percentage and wasn't able to get over 3,000 yards. He did play in 14 games, and to be honest, I'm willing to give Mac Jones some rope, despite this being a bit of a step backward from his rookie season where he had over 3,800 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. It's very common to see a rookie player slump in his sophomore season because there's tape on him, but also when you factor in everything that Mac Jones went through, I mean, his offensive coordinator left. He had a defensive coordinator that wasn't even great at being a defensive coach as his new offensive coordinator. They didn't necessarily get along with. His options at wide receiver aren't necessarily the best, which is why you saw a lot of rumors in regards to DeAndre Hopkins. And now it seems like there's some hope for him. Now, there's still a myriad of ways the Patriots could go about this, and Tom Brady does factor into this as well. But let's just break down the news before we go anywhere else. According to Adam Schefter, Matt Patricia is officially out as the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots because Alabama offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Bill O'Brien has returned to New England and is being named the Patriots offensive coordinator. O'Brien was a Patriots assistant coach from 2007 to 2011 and now returns to coach Mac Jones, whom he briefly worked with at Alabama. So this is a home run. I mean, assuming that they're going to continue with Mac Jones, and we're going to get to talking about that in just a minute, because you bring a person that is credible as an offensive coordinator to coach Mac Jones. He worked with Mac Jones at Alabama. Clearly, it was enough for Mac Jones to get drafted as a first-round quarterback in a very deep quarterback draft class a couple years ago. There's familiarity between Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones. There's familiarity between Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick, and I already know what people are going to take to the comment section down below to say, Bill O'Brien screwed up the Houston Texans, Mike, and we're going to address that in a sec. The first thing that I wanted to point out is the fact that Matt Patricia, very low-key, had a generational bag fumble here, because the Detroit Lions were responsible for paying Matt Patricia over the next couple of years, but since the New England Patriots hired Matt Patricia, the Detroit Lions no longer have to pay him. So in a sense, this is kind of a bag fumble by Matt Patricia because he was getting paid head coach money. Now the New England Patriots have to pay him. Now, I don't necessarily know how much he's getting paid for his former position. It would be a bit of a screw job if Bill Belichick just tells Matt Patricia to like fuck off and doesn't even give him a position on the team next year, which I do think Matt Patricia is probably going to stay on as like a defensive line head coach or something of that nature. I just don't think offense is his gig, and clearly Bill Belichick is trying to train his son as the defensive coordinator, so Matt Patricia couldn't go back to his old job as defensive coordinator. But Bill Belichick is very loyal to the individuals that are loyal to him, as you can see with the recent job that he gave to Bill O'Brien. I thought it would have been really cool to see Cliff Kingsbury potentially join Bill Belichick's coaching staff, but I feel like that's something he's holding off on. Maybe in the future he tries to be a head coach again. I don't think you're going to see Kingsbury's name in quite some time, primarily because he's getting paid like a top tier head coach for taking a vacation over the next 4 years. He's a relatively young guy too. I hope he enjoys his trip to Thailand. That's honestly what I would do. Now let's break down this move directly in terms of what this means for Mac Jones, in terms of what this means for the New England Patriots, because I already know a lot of people don't like Bill O'Brien because of how his tenure with the Houston Texans ended. The very first thing you guys have to understand is prior to Bill O'Brien handling the dual general manager and head coaching responsibilities for the Texans, he was actually a pretty decent head coach. I mean, from a coaching standpoint, he was decent. He was solid. He wasn't necessarily a great coach or anything of that sort. You also have to understand that this man has taken some very challenging head coaching gigs. I mean, he was the Penn State head coach literally the moment they moved on from the Joe Paterno era, and he was able to take that program from a very dark point in their history and at least turn around a final record of 8-4, which was the most wins for a first-year head coach in Penn State history. After that, he got the opportunity with the Houston Texans, and in his first 3 years as the Texans head coach, he went 9-7. Bear in mind, this is while he had a revolving door at quarterback as a coach. Then in 2017, he went 4-12, and by the time he finally got a good quarterback in 2018 and 2019, he was fairly solid. In 2018, he went 11-5. In 2019, 2019, he went 10-6. You could also say this is because the Houston Texans already had a loaded roster of DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson. You had J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive end. So yeah, if you want, you could give those guys credit, and rightfully so. But I think where there's a huge misconception in regards to Bill O'Brien's ability as a head coach is the fact that he made one of the worst trades in NFL history, where he traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals for peanuts on the dollar. That's a general manager move. You're not hiring Bill O'Brien to be your head coach or your general manager. You're hiring him to be an offensive coordinator, and that's something he's pretty damn good at being. So I think this could potentially save Mac Jones. At the very minimum, for those of you guys that think Bill O'Brien's a sham, which I don't blame you for feeling that way, you have to admit, this is an upgrade over Matt Patricia. Anyone's an upgrade over Matt Patricia. And for that reason, I give this an A+ for the New England Patriots. If it doesn't work out, you find someone else next year, but at the very minimum, you don't bear the responsibility of Mac Jones's development on Matt Patricia. And that's a huge W in my opinion. Now, what this also means is the odds of DeAndre Hopkins joining Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick's head coaching staff on the New England Patriots is kind of up in the air. Now, the only thing I was able to dig up about DeAndre Hopkins and Bill O'Brien was the fact that Hopkins specifically said that he had no relationship with Bill O'Brien, which I don't know if Hopkins is just trying to be professional here or what. Whenever you're the number one option on the Houston Texans, one could assume that you have some conversations with your head coach. Maybe he interacted with the offensive coordinator more. Maybe he interacted with his wide receiver coach a bit more. I don't necessarily know, but what I do know is Mac Jones already has reacted to this and is very excited about the fact that the Patriots went ahead and hired Bill O'Brien. According to this report, for Jones, it's the best of both worlds. That's why he's pumped up about the new head coaching hire. According to a source close to Jones, the Patriots quarterback is very excited about O'Brien coming to New England. Another source close to the Patriots quarterback told Mass Live that Jones is looking forward to working with Coach O'Brien. They added that since the Patriots and Alabama have a similar culture and offensive approach, it should help Jones with the transition of working with O'Brien. The source said that for Jones, it'll be nice to start working a new relationship with someone that you already had the opportunity to work with. Now, there's two directions the Patriots could go at this point. Let's go with the less likely direction. Could this be a ploy to potentially bring Tom Brady to the New England Patriots? Well, so far this is what we know. Tom Brady went out of his way to notify the entire world that he himself doesn't know what his future's looking like.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. And you've said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it, okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate you asking. Thank you.
Now to the more likely scenario here. The New England Patriots are all in on the development of Mac Jones. I think this is part one of a multi-part plan. If you really want to see Mac Jones take the next step, if you really want to see him make a gigantic leap over what he did in his rookie season and his sophomore season, I think he's already shown you enough to potentially be the face of your franchise moving forward. You need to get him a top 5 wide receiver to throw the football to. Not someone that you draft in the NFL draft, although that could help him as well, but an individual like DeAndre Hopkins comes to mind in this situation. I say this over and over again on this channel. When the Buffalo Bills wanted to develop Josh Allen, what did they do? Well, they traded the pick that became Justin Jefferson for Stephon Diggs. Not on the day of the draft, but that's what would end up happening. One of the biggest win-win trades in NFL history, because you saw Josh Allen taking a huge leap after that. When the Cowboys wanted Dak Prescott to take the next step, they traded for Amari Cooper. When the Philadelphia Eagles wanted Jalen Hurts to take the next step in his development, they traded for AJ Brown. And for the Miami Dolphins, they traded for Tua. The Arizona Cardinals traded for DeAndre Hopkins a couple years ago to aid in Kyler Murray's development. You guys get what I'm saying at this point. You need to go out and get a star wide receiver in order to really help Mac Jones' development. But I would say for now, part one of the multi-step plan for this offseason seems to be an A+ in my book. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.